Hi guys, this video is all about authenticity, and I'm making it because I feel there's going to be a big push for that this year in 2018. So if you're interested in what that's all about and some tips, keep watching. Okay, so yeah, if you want to live a more authentic life, this year is a really great time to do it because it's a really big push for truth and honesty and people being real, and so many people are over kind of a fake put on reality and people not being themselves. I mean, it's something I've always liked, real people. I've met some people who aren't, and to me it's blatantly obvious, but then I kind of read for people for a living, so I guess that is a part of it. But yeah, authenticity actually makes life richer, easier, more pleasant, and much more fun. So it is the next step in people's spiritual growth. It's the next level of self-acceptance, of self-love, and it's just a much better way to live all around. So honest people are generally much easier to be around. You always know where you stand with them. So the first step is really just self-awareness and knowing what your own values are and not compromising them anymore. If you have quite high morals and values about what's right and wrong, being in an environment where you're asked to compromise those is going to feel very uncomfortable and very inauthentic for a lot of people. So have a look at that if you're making yourself do that, and see if you can change that environment so that you can be somewhere where you can be more yourself. I mean, being authentic is really difficult when you're in an environment where you have to fight for that all the time and you have to push that all the time and everybody's trying to push your buttons. You know, you don't have to be a superhero. Being in an environment where that's appreciated is much easier. So I highly recommend reevaluating, just having a look, see how you feel and what's important to you. Also accepting your strengths and weaknesses. You know, we all have them. And knowing what your weaknesses are is actually very important. It means you can manage life a lot easier and you've got nothing left to hide. If you're upfront about who you are, you don't have to remember much. You can just be who you are in the moment, and that is a lot easier. But yeah, know what's important to you, know what your key values are. You know, say for example, in relationship with another person, if one of you thinks monogamy is very important and not being monogamous is a deal breaker, and the other person thinks it's okay to be with more than one person, you've got a problem. So you've got to be real with yourself and stand your ground and say, actually, that's just not going to work for me. I don't want to do that. So that's a pretty extreme example, but it can happen in the workplace too. You know, if you work for somebody who's making you lie to your clients or your customers, or to treat them in a way that you don't want to, that can get quite exhausting after a while if that's not who you are, and you're having to be inauthentic in order to keep your job. You know, that doesn't mean you have to step out tomorrow, but have a look, see if you can find something that's a bit more in alignment with your own values and who you are. So yeah, being your real self, you know. When you're around people who push your buttons and where you're not authentic, quite often families can do that to people because old patterns come up. You know, whose approval are you trying to get and why? Our families, in my opinion, should love us for who we are, not what they think we should be, and that includes our children. They should be allowed to be whoever they want to be, and to express that, you know. So yeah, and you should be able to be the same way with your parents. If they can't cope with you or your lifestyle, well, then there's an issue in the relationship that needs to be worked out. But pretending to be what they want you to be isn't going to make you happy. Be real. Say, look, I disagree with you on that. Let's agree to disagree and leave it be. Yeah, so the first step is really just making the decision to be real. And you're going to slip up. Everybody does. I do. Old patterns come up, old habits, old ways of relating to people that aren't really who we are anymore, but they're kind of ingrained. That's going to pop up now and then. And so what? It's a learning curve. You go, oops, okay, I've just slid off my path. I'm going to get back onto it, and it doesn't matter. So don't beat yourself up if you catch yourself people pleasing or being inauthentic. So yeah, the keys for authentic people that I see in people who I think are very real and very authentic is they accept their own experiences in life, even if they weren't all crash hot and they didn't enjoy them all. They realize that it has made their lives richer and it's made them who they are, and they've grown through those experiences. I mean, everybody has some that weren't that flash, but they do shape us, and they don't have to do that in a negative way. Number 2 is they express their thoughts truthfully. It can be authentic and yet kind. You don't have to be harsh and mean and blunt. You can actually do it kindly, and just say, yeah, no, I don't actually agree with that. I see it differently. It can be the same with a job. If somebody's saying to you, oh, I know you hate your job, but where else are you going to get one? You really should stay there. You might not have any income if you don't stay there, and you think, no, I actually need a cheering on crew at the moment. I need to do this. Then say, hey, look, I appreciate your input, but what I need at the moment is actually support for the choices I'm making. That's a really good way to state who you are without getting into an argument. Yeah, number 4, they love themselves. And by loving themselves, they can also love others and let things go and, yeah, be very, very honest. But there's a real level of self-love and self-acceptance, warts and all. We all have our quirks and oddities, and that's okay. But you can love yourself despite them, and that's something else that authentic people have. They basically accept who they are. That isn't a big ego kick. It's not about them being better than anyone else. It's just about them being comfortable and happy with themselves and loving themselves. Number 5, they understand their own faults. It's always a hard one, and nobody wants to look at them, but they are very real. I remember quite a few years ago, I sort of had to look at some of mine and go, oh my gosh, I really do that. And that's not a very good habit or a very useful habit to keep doing that. But I didn't beat myself up for it. It's like, okay, that's a really strange habit of mine. Like, I like having time alone, for example. It's quite essential to my being. I really reach into myself when I work with people. So I need time of quiet. And sometimes people have taken that as rejection, and that's very sad. But I accept that that's something I need to do for me at times, even if other people don't like it. So whatever your need is, whether it's getting out there in the bush, riding a motorbike or whatever, and other people don't approve, never mind. It's something you need to do, and that's okay. Okay, 6. They take responsibility for their lives. They drop the blame game. Where you are isn't somebody else's fault, generally. I mean, okay, they were part players in it sometimes, but also it's about owning where you're at right now, dropping the story, owning where you are at right now, and looking at what you can do right now. I mean, some things, yes, you can get sad and blame people. I had a recent experience where I was prescribed an antibiotic which gave my tendons a really bad hammering. They've been quite sore for a month now, and it takes time to heal that. And yes, I could have gotten into a rage and blamed the doctor and all sorts of things, but ultimately I chose to take these without actually reading up about them, which is something I normally do. I slipped up by just blindly doing this because I'd had a really unpleasant thing going on with my health that was running me down and things like that. So I thought, okay, I need that, I'm going to take that. But blaming the doctor wouldn't have done me any good, and I believe it would have actually slowed down the healing, because I would have had all those bad feelings inside me. Rather, I found it more helpful just to go, okay, yep, okay, that wasn't too flash. It's an experience. I've learned something, and I shall never ever take any of that class of antibiotic ever again. And yeah, please be wary. They don't affect everybody, but there are actually hundreds of people out there who've been quite badly messed up by fluoroquinolines, so be aware of them. If you ever need to take something like that, do your research. Drugs.com is a great place to look, and normally I do, but I just didn't that time. So yeah, but I own it. I chose to do it. Nobody forced them down my throat, okay? So yeah, my experience. Okay, number 7. They connect and listen to their intuition. That's really important, to trust your own intuition, your own instincts, your own feelings, and what your soul's telling you, what your inner being wants you to do, how it's guiding you. We all have it. We've all not listened to it at times, me included. Usually things don't work out too good when I don't pay attention to it, but yeah, that's part of the learning curve. But authentic people are very much in tune with themselves, and because they've stopped playing the old programs, they don't get too confused anymore and know what their intuition is and what it feels like. So that's another real bonus. So yeah, this year, 2018, there's going to be a big push. I just feel people will step out of their accustomed roles that have been put upon them by employers, by families, by society, and start being more authentic about how they want to live, how they want to express their talents, how they want to express who they are. And there are going to be a lot of people changing what they do, how they do it, where they do it, changing their lifestyles, changing their professions, changing their relationships and things like that. So it's going to be quite a powerful year. And yeah, I feel it's a really good one for authenticity and just being really real and being yourself. So, and don't compare. If you're female, don't compare yourself to those people in magazines. They're all photoshopped anyway. Nobody looks like that in real life. And look, it takes 200 photographs to get that one shot. So don't compare yourself to others. It's just futile. You are you, and that's enough, really. That's all who you need to be. You don't need to be anything other than who you are. And when you are that, you will naturally grow from a very, very clear place. So anyway, that's my wee talk on authenticity. Have a wonderful time until I see you again in my next video, and lots of love.